in every single game in the draft phase and never let HongQ have it.
Okay.
Instantly locked in.
What's the answer? Could be a TF. Bit tough. No Akali. That's gone. There's a Trundle that's been banned all the time. That was the thing I couldn't think of before.
Ooh.
So
okay.
this is really interesting. I actually have a stat for this, and I want to bring it up because I think it's really interesting. So Creme, in 17 games in his career on Hui, has a 94.1% win rate in 17 games. He is nearly lossless on this champion. Is a massive pocket pick for this player to bring it out here. Very interesting. A combo we haven't really seen a whole lot of. The Trundle Hui.
I'm not going to lie, I don't think this is necessarily a combo. I think this is just a strong champion for Tian. But the nice thing is that Pillar does do wonders on something like a Cassiopeia because she has no movement abilities. And so if you clip her with the Pillar and the slow, that's going to make her an easier target to snipe with your Severed Bolts from Hui. JDG looking to double down on some lockdown and objective control. Classic champion for JunJia with the Maokai. And at least Gala can have some kind of lane presence with the Caitlyn to get some early push into JackeyLove.
The thing is, though, I'm not sure if he necessarily will, because this is an option into the Caitlyn.
Oh, boy.
But top esports have counterpick, so they can ban Lux, they can ban maybe a Bard, a Braum, sorry. Even Braum isn't that great into Ziggs, but a lot of these supports are going to be gone, and then Fengyue still has counterpick at the end of the day to make sure that JDG don't get wave push. They're going to have really winning jungle matchup. They're going to have pushing mid because Hui is going to outrange Cassiopeia. See where these bans go. It's going to be the Elise. I would imagine Lux does follow. That would make sense, but Nico's gone. Bard's gone. Seraphine's gone. Karma's gone. What are you pairing with this Caitlyn?
Something that can help the Caitlyn kill, or at least get set up for the trap into the guaranteed headshot. The other option you could look for is a champion that, relying on the push from Caitlyn, can then be guaranteed a way to roam around the map freely. Now, JDG paying some respects to, I imagine, either could have been a Camille support from Fengyue, where Ziggs could have been left alone and allowing him to make those roams. Not sure if Zuian would have piloted the Camille himself. It would have been.
Fengyue's been playing it in solo queue. He's been playing some Camille support in solo queue. Some Camille support. So imagine it could be that support ban.
Yeah.
Right.
I will say, JBetto, all of the ranged bans that came out from JDG early on with the Vayne, the Yone, and the Varus, those all set up for a Gnar pick. Because all three of those champions make Gnar's life very, very miserable. But I'm surprised that there was other things that they had to prioritize first, and it wasn't even banned. So now JDG, because they do not know what Zuian's top lane pick is going to be, they have the option to just try and go for Gnar and hope that it's in the safest spot as possible to blind it.
All right, well, you see the support. I was expecting top esports to save the support for counterpick. Just going to be the Renekton blind. So instead of taking the Gnar, they want to take the Renekton away. Fine. I think that if top esports want to go a ranged top laner, they can. Tristana's still up. We've been seeing a little bit of that. If they want to go the Gnar, that's fine too. You can also just go towards an Ornn. That's perfectly fine in this comp. JDG, where are you going with this support? It's going to be something that doesn't instantly die to Trundle, doesn't get completely destroyed by the range advantage that top esports have, and something that can allow Caitlyn to get through. This would be absurd if this gets locked in. Okay, the Nami, I guess makes sense. Kind of fits the role. Ooh, that's interesting.
Okay, yes. All right, I'm down with this. If you land a Dark Binding, there is no way that you escape the trap from being set off by Gala.
Yep.
That Dark Binding, especially when it's maxed, is a 3-second route. You are donezo. If you get picked off by one of those from Fog of War, and if you don't have Cleanse, you don't flash it immediately before it tags you, bye-bye. You are going to the fountain.
Yep, just the Gnar that we were talking about. Makes a ton of sense. But yeah, the Morgana does fit the role I was kind of talking about, where it is okay into the range from Hui Ziggs. It's not the, you have one ability that has a ton of range, but still it's good into that. It's really good into Alistar because his combo is face up. It's charging directly at you, so he's going to guaranteed get hit by that if he's not in the minion wave. And it's great into Trundle. If you can, spell shield the pillar, if you can root him when he's running at you in a straight line, very, very nice. It is a mechanical champion, though. It's like the value of this pick comes down to execution. How well can Vampire play around his catch? JDG have so much CC that if anybody is hit by anything, they will die. Maokai CC plus ult, Caitlyn traps, Morgana CC. Top Esports have a lot of range with this Trundle, and that can kind of fall away because they don't have a lot of engage. They've basically got Alistar.
This composition come to fruition in power. JDG, Top Esports, Game 4, let's get it.
Now, Raafaa, I know I'm new here. I know this is my first year on the LPL. But I do know about the whole Top Esports at International, thing. Is that ever in your mind when talking about which team we're sending?
It's definitely always going to be in the comment section. I'll let you know that. I don't even have to think it. Whoa! Oh! Vampire was trying to look for, I'm assuming, a flash Q, but maybe the timing of the Q flash, unfortunately, it doesn't work quite like that, where you Q and then flash and it transfers the direction. It still just travels from where you originally casted while flashing.
I'm hoping that's a mistake, like an input mistake, and not I didn't know that my champion doesn't do that, because that's a host of issues and lack of experience, because you probably should know that it does that as a player picking it in a match like this. But anyway, jungle is starting on opposite sides. Was a Raptors ward, so JDG know where Top Esports are starting. However, Trundle tax inbound. You have to pay the tax. Looks like the tax is going to be a gank.
Love this look from Tian. 3-camp gank from blue side into attacking HongQ. And the immediate pillar forces the flash out of HongQ Snake. So that's going to alleviate some pressure and allow Creme to get some guaranteed priority.
We're 0 for 3 on Dark Bindings that we've seen on screen. So keep count. But 0 for 4. Okay. We hit the Q though. We hit Gala's Q. That's good. Any more? Any more Qs? Vampire, you want to increase? No. Okay. We're losing a bit of confidence in the Q game. But yeah, Trundle tax. He walks in. You have to pay the tax. Leave the area. Sometimes it costs you your flash. Sometimes it costs you your life. This time, HongQ playing a bit too far forward. Smart pathing from Tian. He knew the Raptors ward was there. HongQ was playing towards the top side of the map so that he wouldn't get ganked. But still, the pillar slow from Trundle early game is pretty scary. JunJia on the crab. Thinks about maybe going for a bot lane look, and instead will go for a base. So both junglers 0 for 5. Both junglers pick up a scuttle crab and take a reset.
I'm definitely excited for this Morgana pick to be used to devastating effect if properly utilized. But I also want to emphasize that a Dark Binding not thrown, but the threat of it can sometimes be a lot more powerful than just constantly fishing them out.
Okay. JunJia pings that maybe Tian's going for a lane gank and will instead end up getting his Grump respawn, and you can see pings from Top Esports on JunJia. There was a ward there, and that's unbeknownst to JDG. Some scuffling in the top lane, but Zuian feeling pretty confident, stepping up quite a lot. Oh, trying to force the flash, I think, there. I think he's baiting that he's going to flash forward. Xiaoxu says you're not going to because you're going to die if you do, and holds onto his flash. So very nice look from Xiaoxu. Matchup is pretty kept by how early you can get the plated steel caps online on both sides of the matchup. So you can see Xiaoxu going a longsword, sure, but also going some of that physical protection with the cloth armor and make it a little bit easier.
Movement speed and armor, definitely the key for a majority of these bruiser into range matchups. And while Gnar can lose that range advantage when he becomes Mega Gnar, Mini Gnar form definitely super annoying to deal with for Renekton. But if he ever gets assistance from his other teammates and being able to provide the lockdown, Renekton does have the damage to burst out a Mini Gnar, especially once he has Dominus available. So Zuian always has to make that a constant in the back of his mind so that he doesn't overextend himself. We're past the 5-minute mark here, though, JBetto. First Dragon, up for the taking. Both Maokai and Trundle are very capable of soloing those as long as they have the side lane pressure to support it.
Yep. Both top laners hit 6. Zuian dashes forward. Hits the Gnar off. Tian is up top.
Dominus popped as soon as Xiaoxu sees Tian.
Nice.
Dashes through the pillar and backs off.
That looks like a Dark Binding that hit. Alright, good job, Vampire. Well done. And should be able to stop the base of JackeyLove and make it a lot harder for him. If this one hits...
Oh, he popped the Summoner Heal spell, and the Dark Binding was right on target. JackeyLove is forced to flash on that one.
Okay, well... some pretty winning states all across the map for JDG. Zuian goes Mega, Tian is around, Xiaoxu keeps his flash, just has to ult. And JunJia was doing the Dragon at the same time. So first Dragon goes over to JDG, and then bot lane winning as well. So all across the map right now, JDG finding wins. Tian will again say, this is my camp, and I will actually get dissuaded away. I'm surprised. I think that with Subjugate, you can just walk in.
I think he also just didn't know whether JunJia had smite or not. And he didn't want to take that gamble, lose out on his smite.
He's coming back.
Now he's going to walk back in. I mean, as soon as he gets vision, he should be able to steal it away from JunJia. But JunJia has reinforcements coming in fast. HongQ already speeding on over. Tian pops the Subjugate, tries to run away. He's going to have to flash away from Xiaoxu, but he has his own flash, gets the Ruthless Predator down, and the Miasma guarantees first blood for HongQ's Cassiopeia, but Fengyue joins the fray. Creme is here as well, and top Esports turning around to make sure that it's a 1-for-1, and Fengyue, if he can get the cooldowns, can look for one more. JunJia's not going to even take a chance, immediately flashing over to safety.
Yep. Flash is spent by JDG. It ends up being even. I think that Tian could play that a little bit more aggressive. As soon as he sees JunJia in the bush, not taking the camp, he should know that JunJia doesn't have smite. There's no reason why JunJia wouldn't just smite the camp and run away, or at least go for the fight. And it lets Tian... Oh, sorry. It lets JDG use enough time to rotate over to Tian and end up taking him down. It gets traded back. But it's first spot over to JDG.
When we look at this composition, JBetto, we didn't get a chance to talk through the scaling factors for both sides. Obviously, with this Caitlyn Morgana, you're going to have a lot of pushing power, double ranged, whereas JackeyLove is going to enjoy the later stages of the game alongside Hui. You have double artillery mages. Not that much physical damage coming out from this team outside of the jungle and top side.
Trap a little bit off target, but again, hitting the Dark Binding, so that's good. Yeah, I think in a genuine damage on damage scaling debate, I think that it's fairly close, to be honest. I think that Cass and Caitlyn scale pretty well. We've got good front line. But JDG are just so unbelievably outranged by the double mage late game.
Yeah.
You know, I can't remember what series it was, but there was a series, and I might need to hold that thought as Tian dodges out in the Dark Lining, so he will be fine. But where it was Ziggs into Caitlyn, and every single fight, Caitlyn was catching Ziggs bomb, not even in the center, it was on the side of it, and just, I think it was NIP EDG, if I'm not mistaken, and the Caitlyn was catching the Mega Inferno bomb and just getting 100 to 0'd basically every fight, even though Caitlyn has the potential to do so much damage late game, and so does Cass. Against the Ziggs, with the slows as well from Tian, from the CC, from Fengyue, you're just going to die before you can do any real meaningful damage to the other team's backline.
It was the answer into Cassiopeia. Early Hui lock-in, and the Ziggs can provide a second artillery mage on top of it as well. So JDG, despite the scaling advantages that you talked about, range advantage has to be respected, and therefore JDG, it goes back to some of the tools they have in this draft. They need to be the first ones into the river when it comes to objective setup, because you have the utility of these Maokai saplings and the trap line that Gala can set up. So you can set up the pick and force top esports into you. Xiaoxu, no flash on this Renekton, gets Dominus, and immediately seeing Tian is recognizing he might be cooked here if he cannot get another slice and dice, but it's a perfect bait because JunJia was right behind him all along. Zuian immediately flashing away. HongQ slithering on over. Tian might be the one in trouble now because he doesn't have flash from the prior exchange. HongQ gifted another kill on the Cassiopeia.
Is it bad that whenever someone says slithering on over, I think of Randy Orton? I don't know. Maybe that's just me. But well played from JDG. Finding some good play back in this early game. Again, pretty even early game. JDG coming out on top. A little bit of gold lead. First objective going their way. But again, top esports at these fights. One thing about these like range poke comps though, is that first of all, this is not a true poke comp where everything is poke. You know, it's like Maokai, Jace, and then Hui Ziggs, which would be insane, but you know, where you have no ability to engage. But it's still hard. You need to be hitting the engage. You need to be hitting the poke. Otherwise, you are going to get out-fought by the team fighting potential and the burst damage that JDG have. So there is a mechanical output to this comp. Top esports starting up the second Drake now. JDG are around, but looks like they're pretty content to just give this up. It's on a ward anyway. Pink ward will go over. I don't think JunJia's going to flash into this pit and sacrifice himself for the second Drake. Sort of go over to top esports, and the Soul is Mountain Soul. It works pretty good against the poke comp, giving you a bit of that extra health.
Yeah, that shield on top of it would be pretty darn nice to remove some of the upfront burst that comes out from at least the first barrage of range. Vampire threatened by Fengyue with the trample stun, but cannot maintain enough movement speed to go for the lockdown, as Vampire was forced to use the Summoner Heal spell, but this is an unsealed spell book from Morgana, so he can always swap it out for something different and still have something ready to go for some extra combat power. JunJia spotted on a ward as he is ready to set up a dive into Xiaoxu's side, and Zuian is going to be the target here. No flash from the mini Gnar. Tian is here, but can he be the difference? Oh, what if you add Fengyue into the mix, who flashes in to get into range, finds the headbutt pulverized. So far, a 1-for-1 trade. Xiaoxu trying to continue with the dominus, and HongQ arrives to the party to add some backup once again. Xiaoxu punted backwards in between two towers, but Xiaoxu still survives because Creme can't lock him down just yet, and Fengyue was slain by HongQ, and Creme is forced to flash just to try to look for the Xiaoxu Renekton, but he's getting out of range. HongQ can't finish.
No mana.
HongQ is now coming around the side, and Creme can't finish it. Top esports now in a world of trouble. So many summoner spells burnt by their solo laners. Absolutely not getting rewarded at all. JDG, massive lead in this game 4.
Yep, and also because Fengyue spent so much time in the top side, look at the individual leads for both Gala and Vampire after this ad goes away. But like a 1.5k lead for Caitlyn, nearly a 1k lead for Morgana, and Morgana's a mage, right? She's going an enchant to build, sure, but is happy to get gold. We take a look back here. Also, did we miss this? I didn't even know that there was a kill. So it looks like JackeyLove ended up falling when Fengyue left. Didn't get the kill on Gala with that Mega Inferno Bomb. And then in the top side, that looked really lopsided for JDG, but HongQ plays it so well alongside Xiaoxu. Ends up a big win for JDG, and again, a lead for JDG. It feels like the way that these games have been going, Raafaa, is, at least in the last two, the early game, stable, something happens and it blows open the game, boom, 3,000 gold lead.
I feel like we're seeing, once again, a story of who is making less mistakes. I will give JDG credit that they're the ones that forced the dive, and Top Esports are trying to answer in response, but then JDG doubled down appropriately, showing members as Top Esports starts to show more and more. It's almost like a card game where you play one part of your hand, then the opponent plays another as a response, and you're like, but I have a counter trap card. And Top Esports, well, this is our response to it. And then JDG always, at least for this game 4, is managing to find one more better response on top of it. And the last part of the execution from Top Esports just falling short in being able to find anything for...
Okay.
At least they're wary here. Xiaoxu, no flash on this Renekton. Should be a clean kill from Top Esports. Excellent work. Spiraling Despair finishing them off. And Rift Herald at least will be traded on the top side of the map.
Yep, good macro from both teams. JDG have the priority around the top side. So they get the Herald. Top Esports go for the play on the other side. And pretty clean dive onto Xiaoxu. Good base cancels from HongQ as well. So bit of a lead for Creme. And honestly, outside of the bot lane, not a massive lead anywhere. 400 for Xiaoxu. Yeah, it's nice. 500 for JunJia. That's pretty unimpactful. 400 for Creme. Doesn't really make that big of a difference on the game. But Gala being up 1.2k, Vampire having access to this Shirelia's earlier than Fengyue gets his support item online, means that in 20 seconds, this Dragon is very favored for JDG if Caitlyn's there. Remember, Caitlyn comps are very kept by being, like, the need to be there first. Set up a trap line, have priority, and Morgana's the same. If you can fish for bindings in the river, hidden in brushes where the enemy has no vision, it's great. If you're walking in blind as a Morgana, not as impactful.
That's why the objective setups need to be so good for JDG, because it is all about using that Fog of War to your advantage, and Top Esports forcing their way into it, but they can't expend that range advantage if they don't know where their targets are going to be. Dragon secured for JDG. Zuian doing the best that he can to exert some pressure on the top side of the map, but not going to be really the most convincing for Top Esports as they shore up some of the deficit from 3,000 to 2,000.
Zuian will zone away Xiaoxu in this top side. So again, the macro of this game is not bad. JDG get the Drake. Top Esports on the top side getting the tower, denying golden XP away from Xiaoxu. But it really doesn't feel as though this game has blown open yet. It hasn't had its moment despite the gold lead. It's 2,000. And most of that, again, is on the bot lane. But it feels like in some of these coming fights, it's going to be... like, there's going to be a moment in which the game truly blows open. I think around these second items, JDG needs to be a bit scared. You know, HongQ doesn't have, like, finished Roa. When he finishes Seraphs, like, yeah, that's a good item. Caitlyn, 2 items is not the strongest, and when JackeyLove and Creme get their second items, the poke is going to be really impactful. So this next Dragon, I think JDG need to make sure their setup is perfect.
You definitely don't want to allow JDG to just coast on over to a soul point that easily, especially when Top Esports would love to have a lot more time to get these item spikes on to Creme and JackeyLove for these artillery mages to take effect. That said...
All right. Well... game slowed down a lot, Raafaa. 20 minutes in. I think that as the series progresses, double Horizon focus finish. I mean, a lot of vision, I guess, and they have a lot of range. That makes sense. But Yeah, as this series progresses, it's not surprising to see it slow down. Both these teams have been incredibly aggressive throughout the early games, respectively, especially in their wins. You know, JDG was super aggressive in Game 1. Top Esports found some aggression in that Game 3. But the series progresses, it gets more stressful, the games end up slowing down, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I don't think either of these comps need to get massive advantages through the early game. Vampire will have to use his Shirelias and get out of there. Good pickup, actually, into the... Oh god, good catch. No trap, but good pickup with the movement speed boots into the Trundle means that this Morgana is pretty safe against the Trundle.
We're at the 20-minute mark here, JBetto, so Baron is alive for the taking as well. Any team with the Cassiopeia on their side can always just rip it and burn it insanely fast. And add a Maokai on top of it, who already does a ton of max percentage HP damage as well.
No pillar. Okay, never mind. Don't worry about the Herald. I didn't want it anyway. You know what? I don't even like Herald. It's fine. It's fine.
Man. Not even a battle Shelly, and it doesn't even get a charge off either. That's...
Could have just let it crash. There was no pillar.
Hang on. Maokai ultimate used. Fengyue absorbs it, instantly cleanses. So nice. That he can get out of the root. And JackeyLove with a nice Mega Inferno Bomb does get a decent chunk off of Vampire's health bar. Gonna be forced to take a recall here. I don't know if Top Esports really have it in them to burn down this Baron and force it, but might be enough time for JackeyLove to get more chip damage on that mid-tier 1.
Oh, this round. Nice try, nice attempt. Tian is hovering. But yep, really smart change from Fengyue over to the cleanse so that he's able to get himself out. I assume he's going Mikhail's. He actually went Ziggs. It's risky. I guess you can cleanse with your ult as Vampire.
Holy moly, Vampire with the Shirelias just speeds on over, exhaust slow, forcing JackeyLove to flash away from danger. Otherwise, the Soul Shackles was going to get him pinned. Gala, however, pinned by the pillar, flashing away from the Maw of Despair. And Top Esports finding a nice response in the attempt made by Vampire and Gala.
I feel as though this lead the JDG have through bot is not getting used in the right way. They're always left by themselves. Gala is kind of getting punished. It's only resulting in, you know, ghost use, flash use, etc. He has to play back, but the lead is lessening. It was like 1.2, 1.3, and yes, Ziggs does tower damage. Ziggs deletes waves really quickly, but I think JDG need to do a better job of playing around their Caitlyn. Speaking of, this is sole point for JDG. TB from HongQ. Xiaoxu's around.
Fengyue still has flash, but the miasma clips him, and the petrifying gaze stuns him where he stands. Finally forces the issue. Summoner spell use. Oh, JackeyLove, that Satchel Bomb was not punished, thankfully, for Top Esports there, but JDG can use Cassiopeia and Maokai to burn down this dragon insanely fast. Xiaoxu with the Blast Cone tries to get in range to threaten with the backline dive. Xiaoxu slays Fengyue. Tian forced out of the fight, and Xiaoxu is being the front line that they need. However, he gets punished for diving a little too far. Zuian being able to clip him into the wall off the Mega Gnar ultimate, but that is 3 dragons now in the pockets of JDG.
Alright, I mean, if you want to talk about clean team fighting, Raafaa, JDG, there was a lot of really micro things in that fight that JDG did really well. If you ignore Xiaoxu overextending at the end and dying, he did it for his team, but great setup, first of all, on a macro sense from JDG, aware of their comp, but they already had the chunk onto Alistar, but look at this spell shield. Alistar combo, spell shield. And so he can keep going forwards. Really fast decision there. Well played from Vampire, who does catch the ult from Creme and end up dying. And yes, Xiaoxu goes a bit too far forward, but earlier in that play, there was the petrifying gaze on the Fengyue as well to stop his engage the first time. That was really nice. And again, the macro setup that JDG had, allowing Caitlyn Morgana to be in there early. Some individual leads for Top Esports, 1k on Creme, getting closer 1k on Zuian, so you've got to be careful of those if you're JDG, but they're on sole point, and if they continue to make use of their setup, the issue, that bot lane lead has completely evaporated. JackeyLove is eating up plates, eating up gold, got 2 assists there, I believe, or 1 assist, oh yeah, no, 2 assists. You got 2 assists in that, and it's only a 500 lead now, so JDG don't actually have the gold lead anymore. It's even across the entire game. They do have the dragon lead, and that is important. Caitlyn cruxing nearly into that third item slot to do a ton of damage. Again, it's so much about the setup. If they're there first, it's good. If they're not, very hard for them to walk in.
Gala getting some decent poke on the JackeyLove in the mid lane with the ace in the hole. Top Esports challenging for the blue buff, but cannot walk any further, so JunJia secures it for themselves. Baron's alive still. JDG need to get better Baron control, however, set up, and Top Esports at least doing their due diligence at pushing them away from those river entrances and making them think twice before face checking, as JunJia on this Maokai, normally thought of as a tank, but this has been very common build recently, where it's Leandries and Bloodletters, a lot of HP, not much resistances in this build.
Yep. I want to say, despite the start for Vampire, I think he was 0-6 on the Dark Bindings when we were watching, but he's done a really good job of landing crucial ones so far in team fights, and he continually manages to find Fengyue in crucial moments and in not crucial moments, like the one we just saw there. Found him in the brush there. So doing a really good job on this Morgana. Not something we see too often. It's a pretty common pairing, at least when solo queue is considered, but this champion is very much a niche counter pick when you've got CC that you want to immune. And Vampire did a really good job of doing that against Fengyue in that previous fight. That's kind of the only CC he can use the spell shield for, though.
I will say it's nice to have Black Shield on top of you before the pillar comes out, because then you can be immune to the slow that it emanates being around you. It's also nice if, like, there is a fear that comes out from Creme trying to fish for a Maw of Despair, or even, or Crushing Maw, I should say. And for Ziggs, the Satchel Charge as well. So there's some deceptive amount of CC on Top Esports side. Definitely a lot more conditional and not as apparent, but JDG have shifted their attention back to the bottom side of the map because we are less than a minute away from Mountain Soul being a thing. Fengyue has Flash available again.
Yeah, I love this from JDG. Very aware of what they need to do, how they are playing their comp. Mid-prio, just give the bot waves. We don't need them. Right now, at least, Cassiopeia is in a decent position. You'd love that third item on her, but Gala is so strong at this point with the 3 items that you need to be playing around him. HongQ's going to pick up some mid-waves anyway. Gala taking the red buff. But this will, again, we were talking about it earlier, give Mountain Soul over to JDG will mean it's Gathering Storm. We like that too. The longer the game goes, the stronger this Caitlyn is going to become. The Mountain Soul will mean that they can tank a lot more CC. 10 seconds on the Drake. JDG here first.
Teleport coming in from Xiaoxu and Zuian.
TV behind.
Zuian has a bit of a deeper flank though in the bottom side river. Can they get the pinch off? Zuian halfway through the Rage Bar. Building it up. 5,000 HP on the Dragon. Mega Inferno Bomb only dunking onto HongQ, but Fengyue is forced to flash away. Xiaoxu trying to hold the Gnar right here at the door, but he looks for a 2-man scoop onto HongQ, and the snake falling down is disaster for JDG. Tian denies the Mountain Soul away. Vampire completely cut off for the rest of the JDG crew, and JunJia is going to be the next one on the chopping block. Zuian sending it in.
Wow.
Comes over and completely mogs them in the process. Top Esports wipes them in the Dragon Pit, and it finds an ace at 28 minutes.
And the crowd erupts. They know Baron is on the table. They denied Soul a beautiful TP from Zuian. We're talking about how important the setup for JDG is with this comp, and the setup is great. But the second this TP comes through, the setup is ruined. You see Gala squish. JDG want to go forwards. The Petrifying Gaze is good, but HongQ Gala takes so much damage from the poke from JackeyLove and Creme, who never get touched. Zuian a beautiful ult to seal the deal in this fight.
Xiaoxu can only do so much to prevent Zuian from getting involved, and anytime Mega Gnar is in a pit, you have to fear for your life, and HongQ taking so much damage off of the poke that you were describing. It's just an easy layup for Zuian to be able to accomplish there. And that pretty much eradicates the advantage that JDG had built up over the course of this game and the objective setup they were trying to go for with the power of their composition. Now it's Baron buff on the side of top esports, and anytime you have a Ziggs, oh, these turrets are not long for this world.
And you can see the crowd holding their breath as the Ignatius Grass comes out, holding their breath, but they're aware that top esports are in the winning position, denying Soul, getting Baron. It's match point right here, Raafaa. Going to the upper finals if top esports can make this Baron play work. The trap line from Gala is good. It's hard to push into a comp like this. But like you said, JackeyLove on this Ziggs is going to delete these towers if given the opportunity.
We'll see how well JDG can try and defend their base from being undermined by the power of top esports' Baron buff siege. You have Zuian putting pressure through the bottom lane, but as soon as you leave JackeyLove to his devices, he gets these empowered auto attacks using the Ziggs passive, and then boom, Satchel Charge blows up the inhibitor tower, and the base has been breaking by top esports. JDG now having to make do with super minions gonna be pouring into the mid lane.
Yep. So we got a minute on this Baron as well. So with the tempo that top esports have with the priority, they're able to get some invades going on. Even potentially look for this top tower. You see Fenghue's base. He has Spellbook TP if he needs to join the fight at any time. And he will use that. Not wait for JDG to make an aggressive move. He'll instead TP back and make the aggressive move himself. So he not yet off. We could be looking at another tower, maybe even two. Could be this inhibitor. JackeyLove eats these up.
Petrifying Gaze used preemptively by HongQ just to get a chunk onto JackeyLove's health bar. Fengyue
Gala!
pops the ulti. Mega Inferno Bomb is massive. And Xiaoxu cannot join the fray. JunJia caught on the wrong side of the wall, forced to flash over. He's run out of mana. And top esports now have an all-access pass to continue laying open the siege onto JDG's base. They will allow super minions to pour through the top lane as well as the mid lane, since now both inhibitors are gone. Zuian quickly demolishing the turret on the bottom side. It is just pretty much Nexus turrets that separate top esports from an upper finals appearance. Teleport comes in from Xiaoxu looking for the deepest flank. Zuian is gonna find it first, and Xiaoxu immediately is forced away because Fengyue is hunting for him. Creme finds the croc and immediately sends him packing home.
Yep. I mean, it looks like a failed play, but it did pull top esports away from what was feeling like the end of the game there. Morgana is so bad in a position like that. When there are 3 super waves coming in, she literally cannot play the game at all. So Xiaoxu puts the game on the line. TP's into the back, goes very deep, but allows his team to survive. Now, the good news for JDG is because they've got 3 Drakes, there is a ton of time that they can wait. The top esports can get the Drakes. Oh, this is a deep TP.
Oh no. Oh no, Zuian. You have no friends nearby. He has the teleport shield. He's able to at least survive for now, but the rest of JDG are hot on the trails. A lot of damage from JackeyLove's Mega Inferno Bomb, but Zuian is just a tiny mini Gnar. They cannot save him. 4 on 5. JDG have the numbers advantage. Top esports have to be extremely careful. They do not want to chuck away this advantage when they've already done so much work in breaking open the base in JDG's stead. But it's enough that JDG can hold out for just a little bit longer.
Yep, and that is an open Nexus. Do not want to run into a BLG position. Top esports will put themselves on Soul Point as well. A small mistake from Zuian, but it actually ends up getting both Nexus turrets and allows top esports to get the Drake, which it was already rightfully theirs until these super minions are taken. Now, top esports is a Baron in 1 minute. I think the super minions will still be going by that time, but I don't think there will be exactly enough time for the Baron to be up and then top esports to be able to end instantly. But they can come back, take the next inhibitor, take the next set of inhibitors, and then try to end on that. JDG find themselves in a very, very stressful position. Their backs are against the wall. Looking at also taking a visit to the lower bracket where they might inevitably run into BLG a lot earlier than they might have expected to.
And even though WE... Oh, no. HongQ, petrifying gaze, flash right on top of JackeyLove!
He's dead!
JDG! Maybe just found a miracle to come back in this game, but they have open Nexus turrets, they have an open base, but they're still winning the fight. Fengyue gets dropped. Zuian now has to make a miracle happen and shut the door on the JDG's reverse sweep chances. Top Esports, even without JackeyLove, it's Creme that steps up, picks up the quadra kill, throws out the gyos and the victorious cheers. Top Esports deny Game 5 from JDG and are one series away from MSI.
Fengyue's cheering, but Zuian cold. He just smirks. He rubs his hands together. He did so much in that series and in that game. A really good look. This is what you like to see. Some healthy rivalry between two teams that are so exciting to watch, Raafaa. HongQ flashes in for the engage. Ziggs takes just too long to die. There was a beautiful binding over the wall, blind, I think, that hit Zuian on the nut to stop him from getting in, but he ends up getting in regardless, takes down Gala, and Top Esports go on towards the upper finals, take down JDG 3-1, and make this head-to-head in this year 5-5. Ooh.
Woo! He had a chokehold on that team, and ooh, JackeyLove even pointing out the logo as well, just reminding the fans at home and the rest of LPL who is on the stage and the legacy that they carry behind them when it comes to domestic performance. Now, international, different story, but one step at a time. One step at a time to rewriting that narrative and rebuilding the confidence in being able to make us proud when it comes to representing LPL on the international stage. Top Esports now find themselves in the winner's bracket. JDG officially knocked down to the lower bracket. So now, Top Esports await the winner of Anyone's Legend and WE. Definitely not a matchup you would expect to be in the upper bracket after the first round, but obviously this LPL playoffs for Split 2 has been quite the roller coaster and by far the most insane in terms of results. But JDG, like you highlighted and foreboded for them, they're gonna have to run into BLG at some point, and it could be one that is still a series earlier for MSI implications. Beating out BLG just gets you to the series that would actually make you viable for that finish.
This also means that our two first stand representatives, at minimum, one of them will not be attending MSI. They both cannot make it now. They are both in the lower bracket. So we will be sending a different set of two teams to MSI. Potentially two completely different teams, but that's for another cast to talk about. Right now, Top Esports feeling on top of the world. You can see how much it meant to those players in the player cams, how much it meant to the fans as well. Maybe game one, a lot of JDG chants, but the longer the series went on, especially in that pre-game for the third game, or just as the game started, the crowd chants were really loud. A lot of Top Esports fans in the crowd, happy to see Top Esports doing well, and they did well. Now, Raafaa, you were talking a lot about how you feel about sending teams to MSI based on clean performances. How did you feel about that game? Because I thought Top Esports and JDG both showed good stuff macro-wise, team fight-wise in that game 4. And Top Esports, it looked like they kind of ran JDG around.
Early game, definitely more favored to JDG. I think a lot of the advantages that Xiaoxu was finding and trying to leverage for JDG to play off of, they got HongQ involved a lot for the early kills. I think JDG recognized that in the prior series, HongQ was so massive against Thundertalk that they were trying out different methods of how can we get gold into HongQ's pockets? How can we make him a formidable carry that is just beyond bonkers to deal with in the late game. And this Cassiopeia was one that was banned by ThunderTalk in every single game of their series, and it was one that Top Esports, at least both of these teams, were fearing of giving over. It was first picked for them. HongQ got 2-3 kills early on, and it seemed like JDG were going to run away with it with the early game lead. But Zuian on this Gnar was the big turnaround, was the big X factor, finding that TP flank into the pit, and it just forced JDG in a mode of panic where they didn't have the tools necessary to keep Zuian out, and they weren't burning the dragon nearly fast enough to then be able to deal with the fact that Zuian is about to go mega and just annihilate your star carry.
Yep. Creme also gets another win on his pocket pick Hui. 17 games before with like a 94% win rate, I think I said. Now it's 18 games, another win for him. And I think for me, it's a Zuian player of the series. He played unbelievable throughout this series. The Sion game was great. This game was great in particular. He looked comfortable. And from a player who is so new in the league, taking over such big shoes from 369 has continued to just evolve as a player as his time in top esports continues.
I think that Jace game might be a little tough because obviously counterpick matchup Xiaoxu was having such a major advantage and over him, but I think you could convince me by saying, well, if Zuian only dropped one death to Xiaoxu in lane, then that means it could have been much worse. But he gave pretty much what was the minimum amount of gold that he was able to part with, which was a full turret. I don't know. I don't sound like a very convincing lawyer if I'm defending the case for Zuian, a player of the series, but this Gnar performance and this Sion performance were enough that it's in the contention. But I'm trying to go through the rest of the series and remind myself of who else is potentially viable for...
I think JackeyLove had a couple of good games. I think Fengyue had some, but it was a kind of quiet series compared to what I think we were talking about in the pregame. And Tian as well. He did his job, but I really think Zuian had a really impactful performance. And going up against the other top laners in the top, the top four, Bin and Flandre, I think you need to have performances like that if you want to have a chance of making it to MSI, if you want to have a chance of winning this split. Let me take a look at the drafts. I need to remind myself who played what in every game.
Could it be Creme? Could it be Creme?
The Rise game in game 1 was not it.
Well, but was that Creme's fault? Was that Creme's fault though? The
Akali was good. The Aurora was good. Yeah, it could be Creme.
Because the Akali, even though he didn't get player of the game, the Akali was still a very, very potent threat. The Aurora was a potent threat. I guess when I'm looking at all of this, it's the last 3 wins, he was just consistently being a significant source of damage, I guess is where I'm getting at. But I really do think that Zuian was 2 out of the 3 big difference makers there for the team. And just unfortunately, JDG had a Trinamir counterpick set up so that Zuian didn't really get to play the game in terms of laning phase. And when you're a Jace, you don't necessarily make big plays in the team fights. You're just there for damage. You're there for trying to add to the poke.
He got solo killed, but he was living that lane. It could have been so much worse, like you said earlier. And then in team fights, he was one-shotting people, did so much damage, was a big part of the denying Xiaoxu access in with his E and melee form. I am being a lawyer now a little bit. I think Creme had great performances. I think that JackeyLove has an argument there too. At the end of the day, Top Esports played a good series. It started off a little bit rough, game 1 and game 2. But they pulled it together. And I think game 3 and game 4 specifically, they looked like a completely different team. They fully woke up. Their drafting was great. and they were able to answer what JDG brought, which I think is an important thing. Being able to evolve over a series and adapt to what the enemy team is doing. Tian just wasn't getting caught anymore. The carries were doing the damage they needed to, and Zuian was putting up great performances.
Yep.